Blog Talk Radio.
On another episode of Tarot Today Radio. For the past 11 years, we have been bringing you the world of tarot. This is also the official broadcast of the Tarot Guild. Now in our 18th year, we just had our 17th anniversary. I'm your host, Dax Carlisle, coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona. And joining me, as always, my fabulous co-host, Mary Brown. Mary is the Vice President of the Tarot Guild and Director of Communications. She's a professional tarot reader, Crystal Reiki Master, and here she is live from Amarillo, Texas, Mary Brown. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Dax. Hey, everybody. Happy Psychic Saturday.
Here we are again with another fabulous show because we've got another great interview. Oh, my gosh. We've been doing all these interviews, and, for the foreseeable future going into 2020, we have like every show, both ours and Magic Universe with Sharona, they're all loaded up with interviews.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
It's awesome. Hey, but we're also a live call-in show. A little later in the show, we're going to take some calls, and it's going to be your opportunity because we have a deck creator on. So you're going to be able to ask questions about, producing your own deck, publishing, all that kind of thing. You can also call in for a mini reading live on air. We'll pull, a few cards. We're a live call-in show, so give us a ring, 714-816-4628. You can also join us in the chat room. That's right, chat.psychictalk.net. Just open a new tab in your browser, type in chat.psychictalk.net. It'll take you right over to the show post for today's show. You'll find the chat room below the player. There's actually a player right on the page there. And give it a couple seconds to load. You can join our guest, myself, Mary, Sue. I don't know who else is in there right now because I don't have my eyes on it. I'll pop over there in just a second. Also, if you're enjoying the show today, if you want to buy Mary and I a coffee, click on the tip jar there. That's right. Yeah, right above the chat room, there's a tip jar. Just click on that. You can, send us a couple of coffees, and what we're going to do is we'll give you priority in the caller queue. That's right. We'll put you to the top of the list because we take the calls in the order that they call in. But if you send us a tip, guess what? We're going to take care of you. That's right. In the chat room that I was just talking about, chat.psychictalk.net, just let us know that you sent us a coffee and give us your area code, and we'll bring you on first. You can also message us on Facebook if you can't get in the chat for some reason as well. Just wanted to mention that because I always forget to mention the tip jar, Mary.
I forget to look in the chat room, Dax. So I think
I know.
It's funny that we got all these things going at once.
Oh, yeah. I'm good at multitasking, being a Gemini, but not everybody's good at that, So, yeah, join us on that chat post. Join us in the chat room, chat.psychictalk.net. But, of course, we'd much rather do live on air. So give us a call at 714-816-4628. That's right. What else did I want to mention today? Of course, I just mentioned the Tarot Guild anniversary, and we have an anniversary celebration going on. It's ending soon, so get in on that. The premium membership is $1 a month. We bill it annually at $12. You can join the premium membership, and when we get you, it'll get you automatically into the private group on thetarotguild.com for our premium members. And right there, we got specials going on. We've got tarot reader certification is half price, and my course, Tarot by the Numbers, is 67% off. It's like a third. And certification's included if you enroll in the course. That's right. So great deals going on, and they'll last for, I was actually only going to do a week, but I stretched it out. It's now 2 weeks since our anniversary, and it's going to go away very, very shortly. So go over to thetarotguild.com, and you'll be able to find all that. You can also join the website for free, folks. And what else do we have going on? Oh, there's a programming change that I'm doing house cleaning here, Mary. There's a programming change I want to let everybody know about. Catherine's show that you might have caught yesterday, Catherine Hahn, her spiritual guidance radio is moving to Mondays. It's moving back to Mondays. It started on Mondays, moved to Wednesdays, Friday. Now she's back to Monday. She said last night, I'm going back to basics, Dax. It'll be the same time, I think, though. It'll be 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, but on Mondays starting, I think, this Monday. So check our upcoming shows. Oh, and Mary, when you give the upcoming shows later in the show, upcoming episodes, I should say, make sure, try to remember that it's actually on Monday this week. Spiritual Guidance Radio. I still have Friday on there because she only just told me this morning. She said, "Did you hear the show last night?" No. She's like, I'm moving the show. I'm like, oh, geez, because she told me, months ago she was going to move.
I already knew because a friend of mine here locally called into her show last night, and then she sent me a message. She's like, she's moving her show to Mondays. I'm like, now I do. So, yeah, it's just kind of funny that, somebody else knew before.
Well, you knew before
it's not
me.
That funny.
Yeah. I do not, folks, if you go over to psychictalk.net/upcoming to our list of upcoming shows, I'm sorry, I have not had time to go and update the list there. It still shows it on Friday, but Spiritual Guidance Radio is now on Mondays, same time. So we'll announce that a little bit later in the show, but let's get things rolling here. Oh, card of the day.
Yes.
What'd you get for the card of the day, and what deck did you use?
Well, I used the Eternal Seeker Oracle by Pamela Steele, who we will be hearing from shortly. And the card is posted in the site. Right? The card's posted in the Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. We have a page in a group. Like the page, join the group, join the conversation. And the card is card number 32, Infinity. And it's just this beautiful card with this big infinity symbol in the center. And it really does, with all the colors in it, in the way that infinity symbol glows. It just reminds me of, that's what I think the universe looks like. I think it's like all those colors. But the card is so fascinating. And, I'm just going to take a little bit from what Pamela says about it here in the book, because I thought this could really resonate with a lot of people. And one of the things is, remember, even though the card is about infinity, that there is only this moment. We only have the now. And the infinite now brings our thoughts, actions, and voices into harmony with the grand design, the universe, with everything greater than us. What I really love, though, too, is in the reverse meaning, she talks about time being a creation of the mind. And, that it's in that we find creation, and not to let the past define you entirely, It's in being that you find yourself. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are kind of, they're struggling with what was and what they wish things were like, or their hopes of what might be. Just be here now. Just be here now. And that is your connection to all that there is. So that's the card of the day. And what about you, Dax? Did you draw a card of the day? Or you do the numbers. The numbers.
The numbers. And, no, I drew a card. I always draw a card of the day, and sometimes I do a post on it. I used to do it like every single day, and I don't do it anymore. I'm just too busy right now. The guild's, gotten really, really busy with stuff, and it's fantastic. It's busy in a good way. But I just don't have the time to do it every day. So when I get a significant draw and something with the numerology, I'll do a post. I did one earlier, I think last week. Remember the November? And I talked all about, what to say no to. So you guys can check that out, actually, in the articles section. Just go over to thetarotguild.com, click on articles, and scroll down. You'll see the November post. I particularly am excited about, happy with how that one came out. So go read that, because it's good for the entire month, Mary. But today we have the 4 energy of structure and creating foundations. And so actually everything I'm going to talk about is in perfect alignment with what you just said with your card of the day. And being in the here and now. I also the entire date reduces to the master number 11. That's the master illuminator number. So being present, bringing yourself into the now, and getting some clarity on things. Because the card that I drew is the 10 of Wands, and that's the traditional meaning of being overburdened, and it's a Wands card, so we're talking fire energy. We're talking about that passion. So you're following your passions. In fact, you're making steady progress towards your goals. But the thing is that you may be feeling a little overburdened. And what I want you to do today is find some alone time, and just you don't have to contemplate your navel or anything like that. Just get alone somewhere in a quiet place and sit and, think about all the different irons you have in the fire and see if you can prioritize. And one way I like to do this is I do it the old-fashioned way. I get a pen and paper. Does anybody even have pen and paper anymore? Anyway, so I get an 8.5 by 11. And there's been some times where I actually had to take 2 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper and lay them out in front of me. There's something magical about writing these things out. So write down goals, your priorities, your passions, whichever thing you're working on. And you might have 2 or 3, or you might have 4 or 5, or like me, 8, and write them out on these paper or papers, and then draw a card for each one. And you'll probably right away get some clarity. You'll see one just really pops because of the card you get. And, if not, draw some qualifier cards, for each one, get some additional information. But that's what I do when I'm trying to prioritize, because if you focus right now, remember the 10 of Wands, that's a 10 card. 1 + 0 is 1. 1 is new beginnings. And if you really want to get out of that feeling of being overburdened and struggling, like you were also talking about, Mary, that's what you need to do. You need to focus on the one thing and get that accomplished, and then move on to the next thing. And you'll be able to get clarity on that by being present in the now, like you were saying, Mary. So there you go.
Yeah.
There's the numerology and the card I got.
Awesome. What's really great? When you were talking about using several pieces of paper and stuff, and what I do, and I love to do this. If I have like a whole bunch of things that I've got to like figure out, I have a really large sketch pad, and I like to make my list on that.
Perfect.
Because also, like, sometimes you're thinking about how do I do this and stuff, and sometimes you just, I don't know, there's something about having a gigantic piece of paper that you can also doodle on and, put stickers on and glitter and everything. I don't know. It makes it work for me.
It's like an art project, too, yeah. So things start to work. I've actually heard that before. You know who I got that from was James Wells.
Oh, wow.
In Canada. Yeah. What he does, though, instead of a sketch pad, he has blank newspaper print. Newspaper paper.
Yeah.
Which is it's slightly bigger even, and he has a stack of them, and he'll lay it down, and that's how he does readings with folks. He'll talk to the client and be discussing and coming up with questions from it, and he'll write those down and create a spread on the fly on newsprint, and then pull cards and put it on. Yeah, and pull cards and put the cards on top of each thing he's written down, right on top of it on the newsprint. It's so cool. I love that idea.
Wow. Yeah.
There you go. More tarot tips, folks. Speaking of tips, we might get some great tips from our guest today, because she's been publishing decks and doing tarot for forever. And in fact, when she joined the guild was around the time you joined the guild, like about 10 years ago, And she is, I know time just flies. She only just recently came back into the fold. We have this new website, and we've had thousands of Tarot Guild members, and not everybody has found the new website yet. So I'm glad that Pamela's on there. And she is a premium professional member of the Tarot Guild, and a guild-certified Tarot Master, deck creator, and God, just so much more. We're gonna have to ask her. Yeah, let's ask her. So let's bring her on without any further ado. The fabulous Pamela Steele. They've been waiting for you, Pam.
Woohoo! Me too.
Hi.
Me too. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Pamela.
How you doing?
Great. It's so cool that you could be here today with us.
It's fun, okay? And in chat, I know not everybody can go right now, but you're talking about the different cards in the Eternal Secret, and it was just released last spring. And it had a real challenging release because of all of the decks that I had delegated to go to different people who contributed, Benabel Wynn, who wrote the foreword, and then there was 5 of my really close tarot friends that wrote little blurbs for me, and none of those decks made it. In fact, 2/3 of the decks that I wanted sent to these people never got there. So it all had to be redone, and this time it was with wonderful things like your phone number and your email address. And finally, people are starting to get copies of the deck. And they're going, oh, my God, how come it took so long to get here? They're loving it. And that's wonderful because I never intended to do this deck. So it was really kind of Well, I didn't.
Well, how come okay, explain. You didn't intend to do, how do you have an unintended deck happen?
What?
Really? No, what happened was about 6 or 7 years ago, a couple that I knew wanted to start a new tarot symposium. And we had met at BATS, and they asked me would I be willing to give them a hand getting started. And I said, yeah, what do you need me to do? And they said, well, we're going to feature a guest artist every year. We would like you to be our first artist. And so we're going to need a poster. And I said, I got an idea. And they looked at each other, and they looked at me and said, just like that? I said, just like that. And this full-blown image popped into my head, and its working title was The Hermit Dude. And so for the next, yeah, I know. So if you go back, Newt's very first poster, kick out, exit out of the gate actually it became spirit guide, okay? Because I was writing them, and people would ask me, are you doing another deck? No. I was still right in the middle at that point of getting the Wizard's Pets launched. And there was a holdup, because the dock workers strike and all this stuff. So I was having trouble getting them in. And it was crazy because when the dust settled and the air cleared, this is like 18 months later. I had an idea for another picture that I always wanted to draw or paint. And since I'm 70, and my hands really can't take that kind of stress anymore. So I've been learning to work with a drawing tablet, okay, which requires a light touch. It's easy. So I sat down, and instead of painting this 2-by-3 foot painting I'd always wanted to do, I did it on an art program. And when it was done, I thought, oh, my God, that looks just like High Priestess kind of vibe. So that became the Oracle. And I thought, well, you've got two. You may as well go ahead. So at first it was the idea of doing another tarot. It was just kind of overwhelming because I was so busy with other things. My mom was very ill and Anyway, so when it came right down to it, my cousin, it's her fault I ever did the Steele Wizard, said to me, well, why don't you just start with a majors only oracle? And I said, I can do that. But it always bothered me because I'm kind of a linear thinker sometimes. And as I would be looking at, laying the cards out in order, it always bothered me things like, how do you get from the tower to the star? I mean, this is this quantum leap here. Hi, Jason. Yes, I was. I forgot that. Thank you. It was, and it bothered me. So as I'm writing down the cards that I'm going to be creating, I got to the tower and I left a blank spot, and I dropped down to the star. And when it came right down to it, the star became, let's see, I can't even remember what I called it now because now I'm thinking tarot, but the tower card became chaos, okay? And the star card became inspiration. I didn't even have to look it up. Yay! But right in between, how do you get from chaos to inspiration? Hope. So I created a card and titled it Hope. And it ended up, by the time all was said and done, I had 33 cards. And I thought, wow, well, you know what, this will work. Most oracles I've seen are 44 cards. But most oracles I've seen also don't read reversals. Well, I'm a tarot fanatic, and I need reversals. I need to know the other side of the story. So what I did was I gave them all, with a tarot flair, a reverse meaning. And so that technically gives you 66 cards. But that's me. That's the way I think. And when I finally decided, okay, I am going to do this, I honestly didn't know if I'd self-publish again, because the first two were. I didn't know if I would seek a publisher. I didn't know any of it. I was just doing it. And I had a couple of sample decks made up. And, yes, I do remember you, Jason, so there. Nah. I had a couple of sample decks made up, and I took one to a show where I was reading, and I didn't know what to do with it at the time, so I just kind of spread it out. And I asked the very first client, I said, choose one card for me. And she kind of looked at me. She says, why? I said, just do it. So she did. And I picked it up and I started telling her what she was looking at for and needed to know. And then I spread out the Steele Wizard and said, okay, pick me out 12 cards. We're going to do this. And she's sitting there with her mouth open and said, oh, my God, you didn't just do that. I said, yeah, it wasn't me. It was you. You're telling me what I need to know to give you a proper reading. And after that, I've always used this deck, the Eternal Seeker, pre-reading to give me insights as to what that person, maybe not what they're asking me, maybe not what they think they need to know or want to know, but what their soul is telling them I need to know. That's how that started. Yeah.
Well,
and it's probably selected for Red Feather. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's really kind of fascinating because it's like, yes, you see the 22 major arcana in the deck, but then there's the other things that you bring to it. I think of, the first card that I noticed that with was the crone. That's maybe like where we first sort of deviate, and we have a triquetra symbol on the wand. And, was that easy? Like, did those ideas that weren't connected to the 22 major arcana, did those just kind of flow into this, or how? That's the thing I was wondering, like, how did you, how did it happen? I guess it's a simple question.
It was, once I figured out what was going on, the thing about a deck, when you're going to create a deck, when a person, an artist, an author sits down to do this, and you finally say, yeah, okay, I'll do it, because my muse isn't one of these gentle creatures who slips in and holds my hand and gently guides me to the next part. No, it's more like when Inspector Clouseau walks into his house and gets attacked by Cato. It's a woman, she gets me in a headlock and says, this is where you need to go, and drags me there, whether I want to go or not. So I've learned to just say, yeah, okay, let's do this. But it really isn't hard. It's just that after I got the oracle done in this deck, which is the High Priestess, the next card I wanted to do then was the Divine Feminine, which is the Empress. And then, of course, the very next card after that was you need a crone. If you're going to do with this, you need a maiden, a mother, and a crone. Do the crone. So I said, okay, fine. So I did.
Yeah. Hello, the crone. Are we forgotten up here in the world? What's going on? That's what I thought. I was just like, oh yes, I love that she was in there. It's almost like I feel like the crone isn't acknowledged as much. We're so caught up on the maiden, and if they're not caught up on the maiden, they're caught up on the mother. But hey, maybe that's just my problem.
Well, it's like Jason Spillman just asked. He says, I love reversals. Why are reversals important to me? Mostly because it's like the other side of a coin. I mean, when you're reading tarot and you don't use reversals and you get the Ten of Swords, the reverse meaning is so modified. It's really not. It's not a terrible let's duck under the table with the bucket on your head card. It's like the Tower reverse is not that traumatic. So I like to have these. I like to have, like Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. And who remembers Paul Harvey besides people way over?
Hey, I remember Paul Harvey. Hold on.
I'm not going to tell you if I remember or not.
Dax remembers. I know he does.
Oh my gosh!
But they are, to me, they're almost essential. I feel like I'm reading with half a deck if I don't use reversals.
That is fascinating. Yeah, and it's funny. I don't use reversals, and
me either.
But I use the elements, and so to me that gives me the rest of the story, because it's like, how's this sitting? I don't do one card readings for people. I feel like I've got to have a full sentence here. I've got to have at least 3 cards. And that's another thing I wanted to make sure everybody knows about your deck is you have some really creative spreads in your deck, and there's 3 3-card spreads in there, but the composition is different. They make different patterns. One's going up like a staircase, the other's like a column straight up and down, and the other's like a pyramid. And I was just wondering, am I the one seeing these shapes in here, or you did that, right? You did that. I'm just not. Yes. My mind isn't. Okay, good. Could you talk about what that, how do you even decide, because what I see with a lot of decks that come out in the guidebooks and stuff, it's the same thing that we see every, a million times. So were these spreads that were your kind of own spreads that you were already using, or did you create them especially for the deck?
I created them especially for the Eternal Seeker. And the reason is what I do is I will formulate a question and then maybe add questions around it. And that's kind of how these decks or these spreads start is I need this answer. How do I get from here to this? And I kind of reverse engineer it until I figure out how many cards I need to answer this particular issue.
Oh, I like that. That is a cool way to start because I think a lot of times people get sort of, they're stuck on the Celtic cross. They're stuck on the Celtic cross. That's another one that just gets me. The Celtic cross, it floors me. I've had so many people over the years say, "Oh my gosh, I don't like that because it's too hard. It takes too long to do." And I finally one group on Facebook, and I told her, I said, you can go through the Celtic cross in 10 minutes. And they went, "What?" I said, "You can."
Can I tell you?
It is.
Can I tell you something?
Go ahead, Dad.
Early on, I struggled with both things like that. These big spreads, reversals, and what I came across, I think my favorite book way back in the day was James Radcliffe's Tarot Tells the Tale, which he has since republished as Mary. What did he republish it as? How to Read Tarot or something like that. And it had all these. What I loved was half of the book, like the whole second half of the book, was all example 3-card readings that he did for from his Night Rider.
Night Rider.
Night Reader.
I can't remember the name. Night Reader, and it was people from literature, people from well-known people, people that we all know their stories. So when he drew the cards for a question for them, like Cinderella, is she going to make it to the ball? I don't know. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but he would pull these simple 3-card readings and get all of this information. And I'm like, why are people bothering with these enormous spreads when you can pull 3 cards and then come up with a different question, pull 3 more cards? It's so much easier. And, I always intrinsically saw the cards as having a spectrum of meaning from the upright to the reversal. So I just look at the spread, the surrounding cards, and decide whether it's the more negative meanings or the more positive meanings, or But I've seen some really, you got me thinking, because I've seen some really cool ways of dealing with reversals. One thing I really always disliked about it, because I've been into numerology and mathematics and what am I thinking of?
Sacred geometry.
But no, I'm talking about mathematics.
No.
Looking at statistics and things like that, and randomness, and the whole concept of, like, how do you even get a reversed card? Well, one friend of mine took 2 Wade Smith decks. One of the decks, he colored the edges a different color, and then he mixed the 2 decks together. If it came up the regular card, it was upright. If it came and it would still be upright, but if it had the border around it, it was a reverse card. And I was like, that solves the randomness problem. That is a more realistic randomization than just, I'm going to grab the deck and turn half of the cards upside down and so I get some reversals, which I always thought was ludicrous. But this makes sense, thinking scientifically, because I look at everything logically. I'm a little bit too left-brained, I guess. But so that's my take on reversals.
No, because here's the thing in a nutshell, okay? When it comes to reading tarot, there's not a wrong way to do it. What works for you is perfect. And everything from asking questions, not asking questions, the way you shuffle, the way you deal, spread, don't spread, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it's the authenticity of the reader that matters, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I love that.
I agree with that, but one thing I do want to mention, though, in Pamela's guidebook that goes with the Eternal Seeker Oracle, you have like a couple pages a whole page here where you share how you do reversals, like how you shuffle them to get the reverse thing, and I thought that was so cool because it's like, to me, like, the shuffle, like we're all shuffling along, you know, with our cards, and it's almost like it's such a personal connection in a sense, you know. It's like, to me, it's like I feel like I'm shuffling the question in to the deck sometimes. You know, putting my energy into it. We're making that connection, so we're on the same page, me and the deck, and whoever's coming to sit down, you know, can show up to that and jump right in. It's funny though. It's like our you know, we all have our way of doing it. It's so fascinating.
It is. It definitely is. It's wonderful too, because back to the the Celtic cross. When people started saying to me, and this went on for months, I just can't use it, blah, blah, blah. So I worked up a workshop. I did up a workshop on storytelling with tarot. And I used the wizard's pets just to keep it light and keep it simple. And I got a Crown Royal bag. Yes, I still have some of those. And poker chips. And I numbered these poker chips 1 through 10. I put numbers on them, okay? And I threw them in the bag, and I went to bat with this. And I'd made little handouts. And I was talking about how, you know, storytelling is our way of connecting, okay? For as long as mankind's been around, it's like when you see the cave paintings. This isn't just art. This is a story. This is a really great place to hunt mastodon, but don't go here because you'll get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. These kind of things, these messages in the art. And since a picture is worth 1,000 words, what I did was I passed the bag around, and everybody drew a number, and we had way too many people, but everybody that was starting drew a number, and that was their position in the deck. And it was very specific. If you had card 1, you told who we were reading for it. They had to have a name. They had to have everything else about them. And it proceeded. It was like a game of gossip. And by the time we got to the end, everybody was cracking up and laughing because we had a former exotic dancer who was in trouble and her dad didn't understand her. It just went on and on. We had a blast with it. And time, because we had over an hour at that point. And unbeknownst to me, they had already passed the bag around, recollected all of the poker chips, and by the way, no poker chips were harmed during this process. And they had let other people draw numbers. We did that whole thing twice, and it was so much fun. I don't know how many times I did it at Newt's, and people were, can I use this in my group at home? Of course you can. That's why it's there. So it was an easy, quick way for them to get very comfortable using this spread. And honestly, when I'm doing anywhere from 15 to 30-minute readings, that's the spread I use because it tells me everything I need, and I can go through that thing, and then if they have questions, all I got to do is back up and see where it was at.
Oh, wow.
But
that's great.
Storytelling with tarot is so much fun. You'll have to try it sometime. I'll have to do that sometime.
Yeah, no, that sounds fun. That's the thing I was talking to Catherine last week. She Catherine Hahn, the other host, she was on our show, and I was telling her about you coming up on this episode and saying, like, just want to be Pamela Steele's neighbor. Because there's going to be, like, cool stuff to do. I'm like, wow, I could have played the Celtic Cross game if I was your neighbor.
It is fun. And that's just it. Like, nobody gets out alive. Don't take it too seriously. Life is just not meant to be anything but lived and enjoyed. So,
Hey, Pam, you know what we should do is, when we do one of our Zoom sessions for the members on the Guild website, you should come on with us, and we'll do it there on a Zoom.
Sure, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Would be fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We'll schedule that.
We just have to assign numbers as they come in, though. Like the first person ins number 1 all the way through 10. But yeah, we could do that because my poker chips, they're not virtual. They're something you have to play with in your hand. Darn it!
Right, but then you can show us on camera.
I can post those. Yeah. Yeah, well, and see the handouts I can scan in and, well, they're actually, I can just post them. So you know what you're reading and what you're looking for in the image. Yeah.
Is perfect. You know, one other thing I wanted to ask you about is the Steele Wizard Tarot of yours is what now, the 3rd edition is out?
It's going into. No, not yet.
Going in?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, it's not out yet.
Okay.
No.
So it's going into the 3rd edition. And
yes.
So that's one thing I don't think everybody understands too well about, like the subsequent editions of decks that come out. Like, do you make any changes to those, or is it just like the publisher reissues? How does that work, and what does it feel like that now this is the 3rd edition coming out?
Well, the first one, it was back. Okay, I started drawing the images in October 21st, 1999. I finished June 21st, 2000. And I had signed with a small publisher. My cousin was writing the book, and he missed 3 publication deadlines in 2 years. I was not amused. And so I told him, like, you really blew it. But it took me a while to get the rights back because I'd already signed with him. And so by the time everything was done, I decided, you know what, I'm going to self-publish. And that was like in 2004, and everybody was saying, well, you really shouldn't because it's going to, I thought, yeah, put your money where your mouth is, girl. If you either believe in this or you do not, so do it. So what I did was I sold my house because that was the only way I could come up with the money to do this. And fortunately, the guy that I was dating at the time had bought a house, and he handed me a key right after I put my house on the market, and he said, you should stay with me. And I said, why? And he said, well, because, one thing or another. And he says, just for the winter, because this was November. He said, just for the winter, and then, come spring, if, when your deck is published and everything's going well, he says, you can go wherever you feel like you have to go. And I said, okay, well, that was over 17 years ago, and it must not be spring yet because I'm still here. But in the meantime, I ordered 2,000 copies of this first set. Now, the printer that I went with after I finally found him, it was called Cards Are Us, and it's out of Orlando, Florida. And I called because nobody would even talk to me about where to get this done, how to publish this. And this nice man's voice says, hi, Cards Are Us, how can I help you? And I said, well, I just need to know, would your company like to print a tarot deck? He said, we'd love to. What's a tarot deck? Well, by the time we got this thing printed and on its way to me, he had opened an entire new division in his card company. He's got a tarot division. He's printed thousands and thousands of decks by hundreds of different people now. And he even hired he hired a graphic artist to walk us through the process and everything. So, I mean, it's really wonderful. Wow. I mean, he did both of the editions of the Steele Wizard. And the second one we made a little bit like it's a smaller size, but the artwork's the same size. It was a question of borders. And used a different cardstock. He used a linen, which I love. And then he did the Wizard's Pets for me and the guidebook, and they've evolved into like a magnetic closed box. Come on, these guys are awesome. But if you're going to self-publish, be prepared because it took me probably 3 or 4 months to make back my original investment, and I turned that around and put it away to do the second edition. And then we traveled. We traveled from where we live in Canada all the way down to the Southwest and back up, going to every store we could find. It was a lot of work. I'm not kidding you. And I finally got in with New Leaf out of Georgia. New Leaf distributing, big word. So anyway, all of this is being done, and the same. Now they also right now they're my number one distributor for both editions of the Steele Wizard and the Wizard's Pets, and they also carry the Eternal Seekers through shipper, like for wholesale people. And when it came time I found out that I've got like less than probably right now around 200 copies of the original set in the world. Well, I'm sure there's some in stores and stuff, but for sale, like through the distributors. So I had a friend of mine, she's got a print shop. She rescanned all of the images for me, and I decided to go borderless this time. I like the look of borderless. And so I got to playing with that, and then I thought, well, I need to update the book too. That. So I got busy, and what was I thinking? I talk too much. Because as I'm writing this book, I mean, the first chapter is what is tarot, and it goes through, just like the Wizard's Pets does, the ABCs, And I had to put in some new spreads. I had to do this and that and the other. I have charts. I have graphs. I have, because I use a lot of runes in my images, so I'm going to have at least 2 pages of what these mean, this, that, and the other. And I ended up signing with Schiffer again because I really like them. They're wonderful and easy to work with. And bless their hearts, they gave me the same editor I had the first time, so I get to play with Peggy Keller again. She's awesome. Just wonderful people.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to take time because, this is going to be a pretty big project. They're the ones that designed the book cover and the box for the Eternal Savior. And when I first saw it, I didn't know if I liked it because, one, I don't like angels. I think they annoy the crap out of me. Most of them are vicious and they're God's warriors, and they're not the nice, cheerful little, they're not there to help you. They're going to take your head off if you don't do it right.
The little
cherubs.
Really
an angel person. No, they're not cherubs at all. No, so like when I saw the original, I sent it out to my crew, my 5 tarot people that I trust. And they all came back with, oh, my God, that's fabulous. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not seeing this right. So I lived with it a few days and finally thought, you know what? You didn't even, it's not an angel. When you did her, who was inspiring you? It was Valkyrie. So, okay, she's a Valkyrie. I'm okay with that. I love it. But, and I can't wait to see what they do with the Steele Wizard. I really can't wait. I'm just excited about it.
Wow. That is such a cool story, though. Like, what an interesting, because I thought, like, do people change it? And, you bring up the fact that the third one is going to be borderless. And, that's been, it's like there's been a borderless movement, over the last, 10 years or so that I've noticed. And as a deck creator, and I've never asked a deck creator this, but I don't know if you're aware, you probably are, but, there's a lot of people, in the worldwide tarot community that are really into doing mods of the decks that they buy, the mass market versions, where they'll trim the borders, they'll cut the corners, they'll color the edges and everything. And, like, are you cool with that when people do that?
It's not
like
my
when
deck.
they modify it?
When it's in someone else's hands, it's their deck. In fact, I've gone to psychic fairs, and I walk around and I'll see a reader using the Steele Wizard, and so I've got to sit down. I've got to sit down and hear what they have to say. And usually about 3/4 of the way through it, they make the connection, and they'll just kind of. It's not my like. I'm just a seeker now. I want to hear because they will not just interpret them in different ways, but. It was really hard to trim the borders on the original 2 because of the way that they're shaped. You can't really cut them out, let's put it that way, without really tearing up the pictures. But whatever they do is fine. I had one lady, she was distributing for me up here, and she found one deck that when she opened it, it had been probably the end of a print run because some of the images weren't that clear and crisp and everything else. But it was wonderful because what she did was she would take the cards that were and she would draw them at random and she was putting them in little picture frames, like with three pictures in a frame. And she was selling those things for like $40 and $50. And she said, do I need to cut you in on this? And I said, hey, you just bought these. What you do with them after this is up to you. I love to see people. I'm happy that they do it. Own it. It's yours.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about the borderless thing. For me, of course, it all depends on the imagery, but it just feels, it looks so much better to me because it feels like the images go on beyond the border. You're just not seeing it, but you can imagine it, you know. And I agree with Mary. That's getting really popular. But I've also seen a couple, 2 or 3 decks. One or two of them are by Ciro Marchetti, where there's the border, but then elements of the image go out over the border, where it gives it this 3D effect. It is so cool.
Yes. Robert Place does that too. And I mean, both
he was probably the other
and
one.
Robert's works are just, oh my God, they're brilliant. They're wow, stunning. That's a good word. Yes. So yeah, I totally agree.
Awesome. Let me do a time check here. I knew we were going to talk to Pam for a long time, so I set the show for like really long on the timer here.
5 hours.
Yeah, I know. We've been on for 50 minutes. Why don't we take a short break? Let Pamela get some water or something, and you can let us know what shows are coming up on the network, Mary.
Yes. So on the Psychic Talk Radio Network, our next show is actually going to be tomorrow, November 14th, Sunday. It's the Magic Universe Show with our host, Sharona Rapsick. She's going to have a special guest on, Tarot Master Tamara Kerr, and they're going to be doing free tarot mini readings and open lines. And then on Monday, at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, it's the Wisdom of the Soul show, and it's the new day for Spiritual Guidance Radio as well, which will be with angelic channel and healer Catherine Hahn, who will be giving free on-air guidance. That's going to be at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, I think, right? We'll check it out. And then Dax and I will be back next Saturday, November 20th, on the Tarot Today radio show with our special guest, Brenda Elizabeth, talking about her Mysteries Halloween Lenormand deck, and we'll be taking your calls as well. And that can all be found, just bookmark the page, psychictalk.net/upcoming, and that way you can kind of keep up with our show schedule and what's coming up for the week and everything in between. Back to you, Dax.
Awesome. I did also want to mention, in conjunction with, because you just mentioned Brenda's going to be on our show. That's going to be a lot of fun. I really haven't talked to anybody about Lenormand on air in years, so it'll be fun. Plus, what I wanted to mention was for our premium members of the Guild, Brenda's going to do a talk. We're going to all get on Zoom. At least I think it's going to be on Zoom. And what we're going to do is Brenda's got a talk she gives that's Lenormand for tarot readers. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. It's going to be 2 weeks after her appearance on Tarot Today Radio. So it'll be December 4th. It's either going to be before or after, probably after your show, Mary. You're going to have There's a Rock for That show on the 4th there, that Saturday, and then like an hour later or so we'll do the Lenormand for tarot readers. And you can get in on this. Like I said, it's only $1 a month to be a premium member at the Tarot Guild. Just go over to thetarotguild.com, click Join the Guild. It's $12 for the year, and you get a ton of benefits. You'll see them all listed out there. Join.thetarotguild.com, and when you sign up, you get access to all these panel discussions, live Q&As. We're going to do workshops and classes all throughout the year, and you get them all free. It's great.
Nice.
Mary, you're still going to do your how to read with an oracle deck?
Yes, I guess
Workshop?
I am.
Yeah.
Now that you let it on air, yeah, well, sure. What is it? Yeah. Well, actually, first I want to do. I know I do want to do that, but I also really want to do one on what we do before we start a reading. I'm going to do a card on preparing, or a class on preparing to read, how we can prepare ourselves, how we get in the zone, how we get that, it's all about our confidence level, because there's a lot of people out there that, they're good readers, they know their stuff, but somehow when it's showtime, something gets in the way of their confidence, and and then they're like the nervous reader, and it doesn't have to be that way. And so I've got some things that have worked for me, and I want to do like a workshop like that where people can also share like what their ways of approaching it is too, because I think each one teach one. We all have things we can learn from each other.
Yeah, I can talk about
and then an oracle
hypnosis.
One too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can talk about my hypnosis for confidence, and that's something I really want to do, especially for this upcoming year, 2022. Do some guided visualizations, kind of like it's actually. Don't tell anybody, but it's really hypnosis. But I call it a guided visualization so they don't get scared, right? But we're going to do some guided visualizations through individual cards where you actually step into the card. And also I want to do a lot for, because we're a guild and we're working with, professional readers, do a lot on confidence, and I have some fabulous NLP techniques as well as hypnosis. We're going to do some live stuff on that. I also want to do tarot and timing for one of my mini workshops, and I want to do some numerology ones. I want to do one on the master numbers and one on just tarot and numerology.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I'm really looking forward to that how to read. I don't know what to call it exactly, but how to read an oracle deck for tarot readers. Because. Not only do I think it's great for, all our members, but secretly I want to know, because I really have not read with oracle decks. And so, if I'm going to get Pamela's deck, the Eternal Secret Oracle, I need to learn how to do it, So I want. Besides just reading her book.
Pamela's, no, look, if you get Pamela's Eternal Seeker Oracle, you're just going to deck and you're just going to start flying with it. It's like Pamela. It's so accessible. It's not that hard, right? Is it just me? But no, this is it's right there because you're just going to know in the symbolism in it. A lot of people, love symbolism in the cards and everything. This is accessible. You don't have to say oh, I got this oracle deck. There's okay, now I've got to study Kabbalah for the next 5 years before I can use it. It's not one of those.
But
it's all
I've
right
got
there.
an idea. So, but I still want the workshop. So when you're doing the workshop, the way in the workshop, the way you could phrase it is, okay, I'm going to show you guys how to read with an oracle deck, unless you get the Eternal Secret Oracle by Pamela Steele. And then you're fine.
You don't need a class. Yes.
Then you don't need a class.
Need a class.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then speaking of these, and lastly, I wanted to say, speaking of these workshops, and you talk about arm twisting, speaking of these workshops and classes and panel discussions and Zooms and Q&A sessions for our premium members, we got the one, we're going to do that thing with Pamela. What do we even call that? What should we call it, Pamela?
Storytelling with tarot.
Oh,
Storytelling with tarot with Pamela Steele. I love it. Yes.
I will go ahead and drop. I will find the handouts and go ahead and drop those into you guys so that you know what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, the Eternal Seeker, it's kind of like a Mages Only deck. And once we get the Steele Wizard is off to the printers, I mean, and we've signed off on it, and all we're doing is waiting on the printing now. I'm also going to take these cards, these 33 cards, and I've got another 66 to do, actually 65 to do because I've already done one. I'm going to round it out to a 99 card tarot.
Wow.
Eternal Seeker Tarot. You heard it first on Tarot Today Radio, exclusive.
That's what's going to happen.
Wow.
The Eternal Seeker
That's
Tarot and
Oracle.
That's
Be awesome.
I love it.
If I live long enough. See, being old, it's always a challenge to see if I'm going to get done before I die.
You're not that old. Come on.
I am. I'm 70.
Oh, please. Another 25 years at least of tarot decks.
You're
fine.
Hey, I drew the infinity card. You're infinite. You're not old. You're infinite.
Well, there's that. But then we all are. We're all just divine beings having a human experience.
Yeah, we're all
so,
infinite.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely.
Well, hey, we've got a couple of calls. Actually, we got a whole phone bank of calls here, but a couple of people have their hands raised. So why don't we take a couple of calls, if that's okay with you, Pam, and then we can go back to chatting also anything else that comes up that we want to hit Pamela up for. While we've got her here, right? Would that be okay, Pam? Do you have a deck by you, maybe? Where you can pull a card or two for someone?
Let's see. I've got the Steele Wizard, and I've got the Eternal Seeker, and the Wizard's Fest is right here. There it is. Okay, yeah.
No.
Yeah. So callers out there, you can ask Pam, maybe to pull a card from the Eternal Seeker, just if you want just a general, something, or if you have a life question, maybe she'll use Steele Wizard. We'll see what happens. And, Mary and I can jump into if we're needed. We like to have the guests do because it's so much fun, Let's see. Who's been waiting the longest? It looks like area code 630. Are you there, caller? What's your name? Where are you calling from? 630.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Hello.
My name is Dion, and I'm calling from Wisconsin.
Dion from Wisconsin.
Yes.
All righty. So what do you want to chat about today?
Well, I've been single forever, and my horoscope keeps telling me that I'm going to have a significant other coming in soon. So I just wanted to see what you saw, like maybe pull a card on that and see what the tarot has to say.
Yeah. Well, whatever you want, however you want to do that, Pam.
I did. Okay. The way I always do this is I pull one from the Eternal Seeker first. And Dion, the card that you got is the Weaver, okay? And what do you know about what do you know about fate?
About what?
Fate.
Everything is fate, isn't it?
Okay, well, yeah, but okay, the thing of it is about the Weaver, what she's telling us is you're worried too much about the results and you're not looking at the journey, okay? Because the web, the Weaver, she's the one that spins the web that your particular thread in that great life of tapestry. Okay,
oh, yeah.
Life tapestry. It's what's important, okay? And it's following your path and not letting it get tangled up with anybody else's or in anything that's too. Don't give your personal power away, period, okay? Now, the one thing you need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt, you don't need someone else to be whole, okay? Because each being is whole and complete unto itself, all right? And what she's telling you is to be aware of the music, of the spheres, and listen to everything around you, all the vibrations and everything. Because, all right, let's see. So really what you want to know is when. I don't think there's a timing card here. If there is, I'll find it. But what it comes down to is you're not finished with Dion yet. You've got a lot of things that you need to figure out first, because right now, if you hook up with someone, it's going to be someone who has the same issues that you have right now, okay? So it's going to take a little bit of time for you to kind of it's going to take some work. You have to master yourself. That is the first thing. You have to become your own mentor, your own best friend, your own everything, okay? And you have to be whole and complete unto yourself. Now, the cards that tell me how to do this for you, I love this. You got the Three of Pentacles, which means there's work to do. You need to be a master. How did that happen? Okay, mastering self. Master your craft. Master everything about you until you're able to just sail through the day. Do you like your own company? Are you comfortable being alone? Yes, no?
Yeah, I am. That's
okay.
why I'm surprised that everybody, the horoscope and, is indicating a significant relationship, because I've been single for a very long time and I have no issues with that whatsoever. Well, my issue is how am I going to be in a relationship because I'm so single?
No, see, that's what I'm telling you is you don't need a relationship. In fact, if anything, it would complicate your life. All right?
Yeah.
But considering the fact that you're working on your own self-mastery, this is such a commendable thing, and good for you, girl, because I'm really proud of you. The second card that came up was the Four of Swords. Now, in the Steele Wizard, what we see here is take this time and enjoy every moment of it. And any thoughts that are not, pay close attention to your thoughts, because this is what you're programming into yourself right now. And it says what now it's telling me is that there's too much, you still have thoughts about what happened in the past that still trigger you. They can still cause you harm, in other words. But if you take as you are now, okay, this is part of the transition, and transition is the one that's the following card. So you've got Three of Pentacles, Four of Swords, and transition. Now, when you get into this transition phase, which is where you're headed real soon, what you're going to find is that you, as you are now, a comfortable, secure, everything else, you can go to yourself then as you were when in these places that are damaged, that you've kind of wrapped in cotton batting and tucked away somewhere. All you have to do is, as you are now, go talk to you then as you would if you were mentoring yourself. Okay, if you were talking to a younger person that walks up and sits down and says, "Oh God, Dion, look what happened to me." How would you counsel them? And that's what you do for you during this transition. You go and you bring those parts of you that were broken and damaged, you bring them home. All this while you're on your path. All this while you are following your thread in the great tapestry. Okay? So don't worry about it. They can tell you it's available and you don't have to accept it, okay? You don't have to accept a partner. In fact, when you do, it's going to be one of those, really, if you mess with me, so help me, I'll take your head off. So, yeah, just be ready and keep working on you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm laughing. That is so funny. That is
good.
So funny because I could just totally see me doing that.
Thank you tell so the much. Universe. I am not taking this. I'm sorry.
Good for you. Proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the call. That was great, Dion. Thanks for calling in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We're going to run over to take one more call, and then we're going to chat a bit. And by the way, if you're in the caller queue and you haven't pressed 1 on your dial pad, that's how you get into the queue. We don't know that you want to be live on air till you press 1 on your dial pad. So when you call in at 714-816-4628, press 1. It'll put you into the caller queue. Raise your hand, so to speak, and we'll bring you live on air. Let's see who's been waiting the longest. Area code 973. Are you there? Hello? Okay, we're putting them. We'll come back to them later in the show. We're gonna go to area code. Let's see, what's that one? 806 has been waiting the longest since. Okay, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? 806.
My name is Melody, and I'm calling from Amarillo.
Melody.
Hey, Melody.
Hi there, my friend.
Oh, you Yeah, I know you live in the same city, but you must know our Mary Brown.
Yeah.
I
That's
sure
so cool.
do.
Glad you got through.
Yeah,
So
hopefully it's going to be worth the wait, I know.
Yeah, what's your question for Pamela today?
Well, I've struggled with pretty extreme fatigue most of my life and explored all the usual, and I just want to know what's going on, and how can I improve my health and strengthen myself and get my house cleaned up so I can have a life again.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you how old you are because you got the crone card.
I got the what card?
Crone. She's in the Eternal Seeker. It's the crone. So what you're looking for is some old wisdom, ancient wisdom. You're looking for answers, and the best place to look is like home remedies, old remedies. I'm sure you've already you've gone through doctors.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever talked to have you ever talked to any like naturopaths or alternative healers? The Tibetans have a doctor. I can't remember what they call them, but they do pulse readings. You're looking for something totally out of the ordinary here. You're looking for a shaman. You're looking for someone who can actually like put their fingers on your pulse or something, look into your eyes, and tell you what it is that is out of sync with your entire system, okay? Because there's something there that's going on that you've probably something that's so familiar you've forgotten about it or ignored it. How long has this been going on?
Oh, decades.
Okay. One thing, okay, the first thing that pops up is we've got the Nine of Swords reversed, which means a big part of this is what you're programming. I really don't mean to be rude, but you need to pay attention to your inner dialogue, what you're telling yourself moment to moment every day. If you're saying, I can't, because you're shooting yourself in the foot before you even take a step, before you even get out of bed. You need to reprogram your entire thought process, okay? Because this is it's time for you to wrap this up. It's time for you to get moving again. It's time for you to enjoy life, okay? And there are people out there, you've got the Three of Wands here. There is somebody out there that can definitely help you, okay? Definitely help you with, I'm not going to say diet and exercise, but there is something that you're missing. It could be a mineral. It could be just about anything. But you need to find somebody that's a natural doctor that can help you with this, okay? And help you put your finger on that. If you can name it, you can fix it. And right now it hasn't been named. It's been, the symptoms are diagnosed, but the actual core root of this has not been discovered. And that's what you need. So the last card in your three cards here is the Star. And the Star tells me that there is hope. You need a little inspiration here to just get going. So that's how you reprogram your thoughts, is you start saying, okay, whoever's out there that's listening, pay attention. Heads up, I need some answers. And just stay open and start asking people, do you know a good naturopath? Do you know a shaman? I know several in Texas, but they're not anywhere close to you. Darn it. But just start looking at shamanic methods of healing, okay? And that will help you more than anything else you've done to date. And it's got to do with ancient wisdom. There's probably some people that are in your area even that are older, people that have been there, done that. You need to find these people. You need to be open to what they're having to say to you. But you also, before anything else, start paying attention to what you're programming, what you're telling yourself every moment of every day. If you say, I'm tired, you are. If you say, I can do this, you can. Okay?
Yeah, I've looked everywhere I know to look locally. I just don't know where else to look or ask.
We have the internet.
Yeah. Well, Melody, because we live in the same town, so I know what she's saying. But let's brainstorm a little bit, because I feel like you and I have a circle of friends that is going to know of some naturopaths around here that we're just maybe not thinking of. But Pamela, you saying the shamanic thing? Oh my God! You know what's okay? This is what's so crazy. I was chatting, on Facebook with Melody last night, and we were talking about different things. I'm like, we're going to have Pamela. You should call in, and I had sent her, because we were talking about meditation, and I had sent her a shamanic meditation. And
Good.
then you're coming with this shaman. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, people. What? I love it. And so also, yeah, you can do this. We're going to find people. I know we have people here. I mean, we have a strong Native American, part of our community as well that, we have ties to. Too, that they may even know someone who would be willing to help you. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
I just found out that we have a Tibetan physician about 2 hours away from me, and the idea that a Tibetan physician who's got clinics all over Canada and he's based 2 hours away from me, I just found out. So I mean,
wow.
And I've been here 40 years. So yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm open to
somebody.
anything.
Yeah.
Dax, what do you have for this? Dax?
You guys covered it.
Dax.
I'm not even touching that. Can you hear me? I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole. You guys totally covered it.
It's like, whoa. But wow, just the Yeah, there's something. We're going to find it. We're going to find it.
You're on the right path. You just got to keep going.
Okay.
Well, thanks for the call, Melody.
Thank you, and blessings to y'all.
Best of luck to you as well.
Too.
So sweet.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend there. So, Pam. Rewind and it's 30 years ago, but today you get the idea to do the Steele Wizard Tarot. How would you do it different? What would you do differently?
The Eternal Seeker. That's what the Eternal Seeker is all about.
Gotcha.
It feels it's like I created a language for me. This I did the Eternal or the Steele Wizard. I did this deck because I needed answers. I needed more, and that's what the extra cards in this are about. Is I needed more, and as things have evolved and everything's going on, I got the same thing whenever I was adamant about me do another deck. Okay, fine. But that's what the Eternal Seeker turned into, is this, because if you look, there's so many, there's 6 cards in here that we'll read right underneath the image. This was inspired by the Steele Wizard's Weaver card, or Universe card, or the one in there that's called Shadows, and that was the one that was called Soul Cleanse. People didn't understand. They thought it was a different card for the lovers. It's not. It's about embracing your shadows.
So now on the Eternal Seeker, are you doing all the illustration yourself, or did you hire an illustrator, or how's that work?
No, I've got to do them all myself.
Gotcha.
I know other illustrators, and they're really good. I have no problem with them, but there's something about, as I'm working on each image, it's there. It's like a block of information in my head, okay? And I know how, maybe not how it looks, but I know how it feels. And it's that feeling that has to come out and be just so. And there were a couple of times, like I'd get about halfway through one, I think, this isn't it. So I'd take that whole thing and put it aside. And then later I would be working on something else and think, oh, wait, that was what I need. So I'd pull it out. And I'd maybe use, the background from this and then an image from another. piece them all together. It's like the one that replaces a death card, the traveler card. That happened. Okay, I had a friend of mine. She'd battled breast cancer for over 2 years, and God knows, I mean, her last couple of months, I would go to her house every day after, in the evening, and I couldn't really touch her anywhere because she was so full of pain. But I could work on her feet. So I would sit on the floor, and I'm a licensed massage therapist, and I would work on her feet. And it helped. After that, she could rest. She could sleep. And she chose to leave. She chose this. We had everything set up, and I felt it when she was getting ready. It was 3 days before she decided that it was time to go. And I sat down that day, and usually a card, any of the images, takes me anywhere from a day to 3 days to do. It just depends on how much time I've got to work on them. But the traveler, I had all of the elements, all of them scattered through in different folders here, there, and yonder. It took me less than 3 hours to finish that card because I was listening to what she was feeling, And and 3 days later, I wasn't even in town. I was someplace else. And 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd stepped outside the place I was at to get something, and I felt her leave. And I just sat down and walked with her. But it depends on the card. It depends on, and I couldn't ask anyone else to do that. I can't explain it well.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
And I was wondering because I just wanted to ask a quick question about going
I got
from
more questions.
paint. I know, but it's like I should have asked it earlier, but going from painting to doing this with a digital pad and the brushes and everything, is it still, does it feel the same? Does it still feel like, facing that blank canvas and, building into it when you're doing it digitally?
Well, it smells different because I don't have oil and turpentine, and the drying time is gone. I don't need drying time, to set it aside until this part dries so I can work over it. It was like what it was for me because I worked the Steele Wizard was done in pencil crayon. Okay, the whole thing. Oils are my favorite. They're my first love, but I didn't know where I would keep that many canvases. So I did those in pencil crayon. And later, when I got to where I couldn't paint, I was really depressed for a while, like about 3 months. I didn't know what to do. It was just like, what am I here for if I can't paint, if I can't draw? And I watched a very brief video that Cheryl Machete had done in New York at their event, okay? And he was demonstrating on, he had he was going through slides of what he did. And, I looked at it, and he's a phenomenal artist. There's no doubt about it. And I had been telling people that I don't care what he does. He's still, it doesn't change the fact that the man is uber talented, right? Because they were saying, it's digital, it's not really art, it's not this. And I thought, you know what?
They're
he showed me that it was. And I thought, you know what? I've got a drawing tablet. I've got Photoshop. Let me see if I can do that. And the very first thing I ever did was I worked up a banner for one of the Facebook groups. And it was, I sent it to Eric Dunn because he's a really good friend of mine. And he likes to tell people it's my fault that he finished his tarot deck, which it is. I won't shut up. I will not take no for an answer. And I finally told him, I didn't ask you if you were going to finish this deck. I said, you're going to do it. I'd get your ass over here. So he did. Anyway, I sent it to him and I said, Eric, this is my first attempt at digital. And he wrote back and he said, where did you find the shit? Where did you find this? And I said, I drew them. And he said, damn, woman. He says, I can't even do that. And I went, really? I thought anybody could. But it was learning a new medium. That's what it was. That's what working with a drawing art program and a drawing tablet was for me. It was learning to use a different medium. And I know I make Photoshop things that it shouldn't do.
Oh yeah, I do Photoshop to make all of our banners. I do all the images for the Tarot Guild and the radio network. And I was telling Mary, I want to branch out, and I'm so glad Mary asked that question, because that was going to be one of my next questions, because that's something I wanted to get into, because I know I've got 2, 3, 4 decks I want to do. Mary's got a few decks, and that's why we're asking all these questions too, because a lot of people listening right now, they want to do decks too. And but I've never considered myself an artist, you see. So I'm thinking of dipping my toe in the water. I know I can at least do composites, if not something else, and I've found some really good instruction on it. But if you have any pointers or anything you want to send my way, check out this course, just send me an email or send it to me on Facebook, because I would love that. But I also wanted to ask you about, because things are so different nowadays, on Kickstarter alone, 9,000, almost 10,000 deck projects. I mean, back in the day when we were getting started, wow. I mean, people mortgaged their house. You sold your house. Nowadays, you can raise funds. We're going to have Luna Charlotte on about her Octopus Tarot. In the first 24 hours, I think she raised $100,000 or something like this.
Wow,
or maybe it was 25, and then it got up to 100,000. But anyway, I can't remember the exact how it went, but I know in the first 24 hours it was a lot. She was shocked, and then I've looked at some other projects, and it's just amazing. $50,000 raised. They're asking for $5,000 to get a project going, and they're raising $50,000. They're raising $135,000. And so for people listening, that could be a way for you to go, so you don't have to mortgage the house, use the savings account, or sell the house like poor Pamela had to do. How many years ago was that?
Oh my gosh, 17, 18, going on 18 years.
Yeah, I was going to say
20.
But yeah. So it's for those listening, there's some pointers. Look into God, I can't remember all the different platforms. One deck creator did it on Kickstarter for the 22 card majors, and then recently redid it on this other website that I can't think of the name of off the top of my head, but raised. In both times, he raised $55,000. I'm sorry?
Usually GoFundMe is the other one.
Yeah, GoFundMe's another one. This is a different one that I'm thinking of, which is really cool. Indiegogo, that was it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are the three that people use.
And he raised $55,000 both times for both projects. I mean, it's actually the same project. Wow. It's the same deck. He just added, the minors, and wow. That seems like it's the way to go, nowadays. And even with the publishers, so the big house publisher, it used to be an either or thing. You either self-published or you got a contract with a major publisher, Llewellyn, Schiffer, Red Feather, U.S. Games, et cetera, et cetera. But nowadays, the publishers have gotten smart. They want you to do a Kickstarter. They want you to, because they want you to do all the promotion for it anyway, because they don't do as much promotion as they did back in the day. And so what they do is they look for somebody that raised $50,000 in 5 days. And say, okay, this deck is going to sell, and then they hit them up for a contract for the what do they call that? The mass-produced version.
Yes.
Mass market rights or something.
Usually, I've seen U.S. Games and Los Caraballo both ask for Kickstarters. And you know what? In the community, though, a lot of people have said, if I've got to do all the work, why am I not, why do I need you? And I get that. Okay, I definitely get that. It's just that when you it takes a ton of work. I'm not going to kid you a bit. It takes work. I mean, I still do 90% of my own promotion and my own ads. In fact, I do a lot with New Leaf out of Georgia because they're my biggest distributor. And the first year I ever advertised with them, I saw my monthly, amount sold double, and I thought, oh, that's pretty good. I really wasn't thinking too much about it because my sales were pretty good. And then over the years, I've kind of backed off. I mean, I've got a little bit of inventory at my house, but just enough to supply my Canadian people because getting them across the border is so expensive. And I went back and got to looking at it, and every time I doubled my investment in advertising, it more than doubled my sales. And I'm looking now, and I'm fixing to take out the biggest ad I've taken with them, and I think I'm going to do 2 this year. And
nice.
I'm pretty sure we're going to be sold out of the original Steele Wizard real quick. I wouldn't be surprised because I think they had 130 copies left was all.
Wow.
So it's easier
Mary.
for me to just do it this way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's so much easier because I don't know.
Yeah, but those are such
I've been
great
invited
tips.
to come to Texas next May, but I don't know. I mean, I could get there, but they might not let me back into Canada because of this pandemic that's going on.
Oh, gosh.
I have no desire to live in Texas, but, you never know. I might end up showing up on Mary's doorstep and just camping.
Yeah.
Come on down, y'all.
Absolutely.
No.
I still have yet, Mary visited me in Tucson. I still have yet to, it's not that far of a drive even to go over to Texas from where I am. But anyway, Mary, I got another idea for another workshop. It's Pamela's workshop on how to create and publish a deck. Right there, because you have such great tips. What companies to go with, how to do it.
Yeah, no, that would be great. And I think for me, it's so funny. I feel like the one medium that I really am working with and love working with, it's just, it's alcohol pens, okay? I'll admit it. I'm addicted to working with alcohol pens. And, I'm like, I am never going to, I can't do that digitally. How are these people, able to transfer from, their little tangible medium to whatever it is to, all of a sudden they're wizards, in another dimension, a digital dimension.
We're trying to look up this group that Pam says there's a Facebook group for creators.
Is the problem. Let me see.
I think I might be. I'm in the tarot deck creators. Is that it?
Well, yeah. I'm sure you're in the group. There's a page. It's a public page that we use for advertising, but the actual group is private, and you have to send me a friend request, or me, or one of my girls. She calls herself Lucky Card, and
Lucky
you're
Card
on our
says
friends
right
list,
on here,
and you have a project. You have one and you need a web presence for it. I don't care if it's a Facebook page, Pinterest page, something, but if you have that web presence for your project, and send either one of us a friend request with a link, we can get you in. We can't do it without a friend request because we can't add people that are not on our list. So
right, yeah, you have to become a friend first to add somebody.
Yeah,
but I'm in there. I see Chiro, I see James Rickliff, I see a lot of people in there. Cooch Daniels. So get your project going and start You could start a Facebook page for it. A Facebook group is even better. A website, a simple one-page website. Just get some kind of online presence for it. Then you qualify to get in this group. And what were you saying, Pam, that under files, they have files on publishers and stuff?
We have files on there that cover everything from publishers, who to deal with, who not to deal with, how to, everything from, for one thing, the one thing that we really stress is do not post any images unless they are watermarked. Theft is rampant. And so, I don't care if you're posting in that private group. You make sure they're watermarked, because somebody can come along, trip over it for some reason, and take a screenshot, and you don't want that. All of us have had to deal with piracy in one form or another. Okay. But the group has. We started with a page. And that's where we do all of our it's got like over 3,500 people on it, I think now. And that's where we do all of our advertising, like to the public. But the group itself is there. If you've got questions, if you've got anything, and the files they go through pretty much anything. And if you can't find it, ask. And every month we feature a different artist with a different deck to do our banner. And that banner goes up not on just our private group, but on the public page. So, we're all about promoting and everything else. So, yeah. Mary, you're in that group.
Another great tip.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, you should be, because, you've got people that do podcasts, anything that's to do with, we've got publishers, we've got podcasts, just everybody that's into creating and promoting tarot. That's who we've got in there.
Mary, we
look
should
for that.
We should. I can give you the link, but we should ask in that group. If anybody has new projects and they or even old ones, but you know what I mean. If they want to come on the radio show and be promoted,
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, Bonnie Chevet.
Oh, Bonnie's been around forever. She wrote the questions for me. For the Wizard's Pets book. She's so good with questions. And what she did was she sat down and wrote 4 questions for each card that you ask yourself to help better understand the cards.
Wow.
It's really cool. And it's one of the most awesome, just absolutely awesome.
Oh. Fantastic information. Yeah, we need to do a whole workshop on this with Pamela, and maybe we can get some other deck creators to give their pointers. As well.
Definitely.
We'd
worked
like to
with
create
Linda
a resource
Marson,
on
Global
the Tarot
Spiritual. You know Linda Marson, Global Spiritual Studies.
Sure.
Okay, Roxy Sam and I
right?
just did an update on our tarot deck creators how-to, and it was the third DVD that we put out that we actually updated the whole thing, and it's got all the new information on it and how to access it. But you can buy one or you can buy all 3 through Linda.
Linda Marson, right? Is she in Australia or is it? Okay, yes. I couldn't remember if it was New Zealand or Australia. Yeah, we've had her on the show a lot of times.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to check this line 973 that didn't pick up earlier, just to see if they are at their phone now. 973, if you're there, I'm going to bring you on. Hello, 973. Are you there?
You better learn. You better go get you a YouTube video and learn right quick.
Okay, I think she's a little busy.
She sounds busy.
Oh wow, gosh.
That's funny.
This has
Live
been a
radio.
lot of fun.
It has been.
It's in our top 5 best shows ever. There's so much great information for everybody. It was nice catching up with you too, Pamela.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
I'm glad you're on the website again, and we're going to do fun stuff like we did 10 years ago, you know?
Oh, yeah. Good thing. Good time.
Great.
Yep.
You got any more questions for Pamela there, Mary?
No, just hope you'll come back.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you back on again, maybe when the third edition comes out, or whatever you have going on. Just
it's due
let
out
us
in
know.
the spring of 2023. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, we got to do something
Mark
before
that
then.
down.
Come on.
2020. Yeah. No, we will. We will. I think we'll talk about our little Zoom get together, and then we'll have you back on the show just to chit chat and chat with everybody, and then we'll promote the Zoom gathering that we're going to do. With the God, my mind just blanked again. Storytelling with tarot.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep. You got her.
Yep.
Well,
you
know what? We cover so much information in these; it's hard to remember everything.
Oh God.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and plus, I'm getting old. Yeah.
I'm
having senior moments. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't call it getting old. I call it emerging.
Emerging.
There you go.
Yeah, Mary and I are doing a lot of emerging right now. I'm just saying. But thanks once again, Pamela, for being on the show, and thanks to all our listeners and our callers.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. It was really, I really enjoyed it.
It was fun.
So much
oh my
fun.
God, can't wait. Yes, I've never seen the chat room so lively, by the way. And
oh, cool. I know.
Yeah. And I did want to mention, because, we give out so much information on the shows that by the time you get to the end of the show, don't forget to tune in tomorrow, because you can do this all over again with Tamara Kerr is going to be the guest. Of course, they're talking magic on Magic Universe. It was kind of for like Halloween. We're not too far from Halloween. And Sharona Rapsik's Magic Universe tomorrow. And they're going to be taking phone calls, too, and they're both Tarot Masters. So if you want to get a mini reading live on air, you can call in. Same phone number, 714-816-4628. Same bat time and channel. Yeah, all you got to do is go to chat.psychictalk.net. We'll always take you over there. Or just go over to psychictalk.net, our website for the network, and click the live button at the top, in the nav bar, listen live. It'll take you to the page for the next live show, and you can scroll down and get in the chat room, and when the show's going live, you might have to refresh the page, but you can just click play on the player and listen in and chat right there. Yeah. All righty. Goodbye, everybody, and we will talk to you next time, Pam. And bye, everybody.
Have a great rest of the weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Mary Ellen.